Hi, Pramod. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of ClickUp and the business plan template in ClickUp so that if you're exploring on your own before the full training on Wednesday, you don't feel like totally lost and overwhelmed and confused. So just a real quick guide to help you get started. ClickUp is really nice because you can access it on the web to start with. So you're going to go just to clickup.com. And when you log in for the first time, it'll ask you to sign in. You just sign in with your normal work email, and then I think it might ask you for a password. You'll just have to see what it does, but you log in with your work email, and it was pretty straightforward if I recall correctly. This is what the online version looks like. What you'll want to do is if you hit the three dots here in your window, this is Google Chrome. You can hit this open in, it'll say install in ClickUp right here. So for me, it says open in ClickUp. I think there's an option that says something like install ClickUp. If you hit that button, it'll download the app version for you, which is basically then it functions just like Teams here at the bottom or any other app. So I really like that. I have Teams here, and then I have the ClickUp app right below on my desktop, so I can access it whenever I want to. Okay, now more into the ClickUp program itself and the business plan. The home page is where you will first get started. This is by default where ClickUp takes you to when you first log in. I don't really like this view at all. I almost never use it. I think it's kind of confusing and like overwhelming to see all of the work like this. Yours will look much cleaner when you first get started just because you're on less projects in ClickUp right now, but it fills up pretty quick. But I wanted to use this time just to show you general layout of ClickUp so you know how to navigate. You'll have your home page here. Then below, you can see all the spaces you're involved with. So this is kind of, I mean, you might think of it as similar to a Teams on Microsoft Teams, just a collection of items related to different groups. So I'm involved in the Crystal House International Programs and Services space, Crystal House South Africa space, and Crystal House India space. I can also look here and I see there's some things that have been shared with me. These are from, actually, I know it's from the IT space, but because just the folder was shared with me, I can't see really what space it belongs to. It just looks like a random folder. What you're going to do, you'll only see the India space when you first get started. And from the India space, you can see there are 4 folders. There's this Crystal House Bangalore Business Planning and Reporting Requirements. And then there's the identical folders for Chan. So Atul Nagar's Business Plan and Reporting Requirements, just for 2023. I'm just going to use Bangalore as an example, but it's the same in both schools. Within the folder, you can see the business plan folder is the main space that you'll be using. There's this business plan commentary document. There's a top priorities list, and there's a unifying principles list. So within the space, you go to the folders. Within the folders, there can be documents or lists. I'm going to start with this business plan commentary document. This functions like kind of like a notebook or like a OneNote notebook, something like that. You can see it's really a collection of different pages, and you can add new pages if you want here. But we've tried to pre-populate this with items that are useful to you, and you can see we've added in the report templates for the mid-year reflection and the closeout reflection as well. So I added in some items from 2023, your current year. We have the business plan executive summary. I just pulled this from your current business plan. We have notes from the strategy meeting that was held I think this was held in February. Just some different questions that people had asked. There wasn't a lot of follow-up in the document I found. Maybe you've got some more recent notes. I just pulled what I could find, questions we were asking about the business plan when it was getting approved. This is the mid-year reflection template that Morty was talking about. So you can see it's much more casual, really almost conversation-based. We just want you to look at your top priorities that you identified in the current school year. what's the status of them, what's on track, what's behind schedule, has anything already been completed. You're about midway through your year now, so this is a good time to fill this out. You might add any comments for things that are behind schedule, what's going on, and then a chance to look at your key performance indicators, which we have in Power BI right now. And I'll show you a link to get to that within ClickUp. But it's pretty straightforward, just different questions that you can answer. And then you can just type like it's just like a normal kind of Word document. One thing that's pretty nice about ClickUp is if you do a slash, that lets you do a bunch of different type of editing things. So slash, the headings are to make it kind of like bold. So that made it like a bigger heading, which you probably don't want to use. And I'm actually gonna, let's see. You could also, I think you can make it like italics maybe. Yeah, here's like just regular bold and italics. You could just hit slash and then see what you want to do. And there's a lot of different options that you can play with. Anyway, so here's your mid-year reflection for the current school year. And we have a space here for a closeout reflection for the current school year. I know you guys are you have your, like the original business plan template still for this year. So this might not be as useful right now, but this is our example of what we expect a closeout reflection to look like in the future. So really just reflecting on your top priorities for the year, what went well, what didn't, like how did they end up? Again, a chance to look at your key performance indicators, what's strong, what's an area of development. Has anything changed significantly since the mid-year reflection that surprised you? And then what we really want to emphasize here is how does the closeout report of the current school year, how will that impact the upcoming plan year? So that's what this question is here, impact on the 23-24 school year. So we'd ask that somebody at your team fill this out when it comes time for the closeout reflection. Then I have these same documents for the 2023 year, so the planning cycle you're going into. There's a chance to do an executive summary. The headlines reveals, this is any notes that we take as you guys are showing your headlines for the year, a first look at what you're planning to do for 2023. Another section here, this approval meeting discussion topic. So Crystals International will populate this with our questions, and then we can take notes during the meeting to answer them. Mid-year reflection template looks the same, and closeout reflection template looks the same as the 22-23 ones. It's for the next year. And the last thing in here is we did add this unifying principles draft. So these are, I think everyone on your leadership team has seen these now already, but just if they have questions about what exactly what the unifying principles are, or exactly where something might fall, they can reference this document to see the unifying principles. And this is the latest we have. I know there's still some tinkering going on with this, but it's okay if you use this document here to guide your work with the business plan. So that's really, I hope, familiar. I mean, I hope it'll feel familiar. It's just kind of it's similar to a Word document. And you can we also added this note in here, this section here. You can do brainstorming, pre-work with your team. You can take notes, and you can tag people if you want. It's really similar to the functionality of Microsoft Word. And you can also add new pages if it's helpful to you to have more meeting notes. We just wanted all of the documents related to business planning to be in this one spot. The next thing, though, the area that you'll probably spend the most amount of your time with is this unifying principles focus areas. So there's two lists within the business planning folder: top priorities and unifying principles focus areas. This section here, you can see we've gotten just a sample task for every unifying principle. They all have their tag. What you want to do is all of your department heads identify what their top priorities are for the relevant unifying principle for the upcoming year. This is really similar to the current business plan. We have that like under each section, it's like top priorities and significant new initiatives. That's really what this is trying to mimic. But what we've done is instead of align it to departments, we've aligned it to the unified principles, just to be more concise throughout our discussion of the model and the work that expansion has been doing on that. You can see we've added a couple things though. We've added this new and ongoing tag. So we heard from the old business plan, there was kind of this pressure to always like feel like you had to innovate because it says like new priorities. We wanted to make sure there was a space to include ongoing priorities as well. So if there's something that your department, as a department, is working on, they've been working on for a few years, but it's still really important, they can put that in here into ClickUp as a top priority for the year, which is really nice. We have an assignee, that's like that responsible party in the business plan now. So who's kind of leading this initiative. Then we have a start date and a due date. So when do you expect to start working on it? And when do you expect to finish working on it? We have a justification column here. This is really just why are you making this a priority for the year? We really want this to be referencing something kind of data-driven as much as possible. So maybe in this is just an example, but I said demo, reevaluate admissions threshold. The justification I had is we've had a low number of applicants for 3 years in a row. You might want to really more tie that into like a specific KPI if you can, but this is just an example. And then we have the goal, increase the number of applicants by 10%. So keep it a smart goal, specific, actionable, achievable, measurable, relevant, and time-based. So these are all timed by the end of the year, but just some sort of goal that you can really measure and assess whether you've been successful or not at the end of the year. You saw that it was really easy for me just to open this up. I just clicked on it, and that's how you can get to more information about the item. You can comment if you want. So you can see I put an example comment here, but to tag people, you just do the @ button. I just tagged you. I haven't hit send yet, but I could hit comment and it would do that. So that's a good way to work collaboratively on the documents. You can also send an email if you want, if people aren't necessarily like in ClickUp or for whatever reason you'd rather send an email, you can send that to anybody you want as well. And you can even get fancy and add a signature here. I had trouble getting mine to format correctly, but you can add a signature so it comes from, it looks like it's coming from your email if you want, instead of from ClickUp. So basically then everybody will be able to populate with the unified principle their top priorities for the year. South Africa ended up with about 3 or 4 priorities per unified principle. That's really up to your school, what you need and what you're working on for the year. And I think the hardest thing for them was really just understanding how things shifted from kind of the categories in the business plan to the unified principles category. That was a little bit confusing for them. But once they got the hang of it, I think it was easier. Eventually, you'll be able to update the status of the projects. So we have proposed. They all start off as proposed. If you want to use as approved, you can. South Africa said they didn't find that as useful because, like, if it didn't get approved, it just got deleted. So it always went from proposed to not started. Then as you're working throughout the year, you can have in progress or at risk. I really liked these tags. I like that. I found the at risk to be useful just for projects that maybe need a little extra help. It's good to be able to flag that. You can also shelve something. So if you decide not to work on the project, rather than just totally deleting it, you can shelve it. Or if you complete it, hopefully most of them get completed, you can mark it as completed. And then there's also this closed category, which like not only does it mark it as done and completed, it like files it away so you don't see it everywhere. So it just cleans up your space a little bit. You'll see there's also, when you open up the item, the task, we have these goals as well. The budget for the year here. So this should be budget impact. I'll get that updated, but this is the exact same field you have in the business plan. If there's a budget impact associated with a specific project, you would put it here. And then we have, if you want to use this one, you can. If you're fundraising for a specific initiative, you can use this to measure how much you fundraised towards the priority versus how much has been budgeted. And it looks like this is still in Rand right now, so I'll get that fixed as well. Okay. So you'll go through and fill this out with your team, just thinking about your top priorities for the year for each unifying principle. Then what you have to do is look at your top priorities for the year overall. So this is like the important areas for each unifying principle, each kind of department. But we know that we can't, as an organization, some of those priorities might not be the top priority for the whole organization. We really want to focus that into just, 3 to 5 really, really critical tasks for the whole organization. What you'll do to do that is once you fill all of these out and you have all of the priorities for each unified principle, you can go in and add it to your top priorities list. So you would just go open up the task, hit this, hit add to another list, and then you'll add it to your top priorities. And that makes it really nice just to see. Then you're not having to duplicate work or anything, but it's still in the same spot. And you'll see now, it's linked. So if you make any edits here, this task is in your top priorities list. It's the same exact task that's in this unifying principles focus areas. So I can open it up here and I can say, I don't think this is a top priority for the whole organization. I can leave that comment. And then you'll see that when I go to here, my comment is also in this this section. So they're the same exact task. You're just marking which ones are top priorities for the whole school year. You'll also see we have this access to the Power BI dashboard. So this is where you can review your your KPIs. I know you had flagged a few issues for Atanagar, which we're working on fixing, and so I'll get those done as quickly as we can. But here's your KPIs. This is the new dashboard. You can also go to the annual documents. There's a few things you have to submit. I'll make sure that link works for you. I see it's not working right now, but this is just a folder in the reports library, which has where you'll submit different things. And then finally, you can also go here. We've added this reporting requirements section. This is just to help us keep better track of the important deadlines like we reviewed in our meeting with you on Friday. So you can see business planning. There's the business planning process, which you guys are going to be doing until it gets approved in the 3rd week of March. But here are the different things you have to do. So uploading the business plan, poster, academic calendar, organizational chart to the reports library. That's where that annual documents folder should take you. That should be done by the January 31st. We have the headline reveal is December 5th. The business plan and budget sign-off is February 17th. So all of these deadlines are the ones we discussed in our call, and we can continue to adjust these. But we just added throughout the year so you can see business planning, the mid-year check-in, if you were doing audits, when the audits will occur, when the character survey will occur. That's not scheduled right now, but just those additional quality assurance pieces that are required by CHI, we're going to put them into ClickUp so it's there and you can easily see it. Okay. So I know that was just a quick and dirty view show of ClickUp, and I see it was actually still a 20-minute video, so I'm sorry for that. But I just wanted so that you're not confused or overwhelmed. I just wanted to give you some extra guidance. And if you have any other questions, please reach out and let me know. And we'll do a more comprehensive training on Wednesday. That's a little bit less impromptu. It'll be more planned and formal for the rest of your team. So thank you. Bye.